Your Excellency, we would like to take this opportunity to thank you for granting us this interview and to congratulate you on the 50th anniversary of the independence of this country. Your Excellency, we are celebrating 50 years of nationhood. But you look at colonialism as such, the bad side of it is all too obvious, we've known. But I just want to ask this question. Is there anything good about colonialism as a legacy?
Auzubillahi minash shaitani rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Alhamdulillah rabbil alamin. Alhamdulillah rabbil alamin. There's nothing good in any activity that leads to others surrendering their freedom to others. There's nothing good that can come from that. Well, as in the case of the Gambia, it's even very evil and very bad. So nothing good could have come from colonialism, and nothing good came from colonialism. Because one, it led to population loss of earnings, people starving to death because of slavery, lack of freedoms, and the fact that we have to be dictated to by a foreign culture that is alien to us. So there was nothing good in colonialism, and it can never be good anywhere. Colonialism was evil, because they never came to develop, they came to exploit. So there could have been nothing good from colonialism. Anybody who says that there was something good about colonialism, the person is sick. It's an evil thing, and so can you imagine where livestock was living longer? Gambian cattle had higher life expectancy than Gambians. What good can come from that? Where the capital city was described as a hellhole. Nothing positive came from colonialism. Nothing. In some cases, you have bad things where something positive can come from that, but not in the case of colonialism, as far as the Gambia is concerned, and most colonies are concerned, yes. Because they didn't go there because the place was in a bad shape. They didn't come here because Gambia was in a bad shape. They came here because Gambia was wealthy, and they took all what they have. We used to have elephants, we used to have giraffes, we used to have lions, tigers, whatever, cheetahs, leopards, and whatever. The last elephant was shot in 1956 in the Gambia. We had baboons. Up to now we have baboons, because the baboons were not of any economic value to them. But they wiped out the rhinos, they wiped out the ivory, the elephants, and any other animal that you can think of. So, in addition to that, from an elephant being the size of the country, it was turned to a little snake called the Gambia of today. So there is nothing positive about colonialism.
Your Excellency, independence is not an end in itself. Probably a stepping stone towards more strategic kind of objective. But 50 years on, in some cases probably even close to 60 years now since the attainment of independence, how far have you come in terms of realizing the ideals that inspired the liberation struggles in the first place, the struggle for independence?
In the first place, the Europeans never came and declared that they wanted to rule Africa. If they had made that known to the Africans, they wouldn't have settled anywhere in Africa. They came. Africans have always been hospitable, tolerant, and believe that we are all the creation of one God, the Almighty Allah, and that we are the children of Adam and Eve. And so it is still a moral obligation for Africans to help any human being in distress, even animals in distress. So when the Europeans came as explorers, the Africans shared with them what they have. They gave it to them free of charge. Despite the fact that instead of saying thank you, they turn around to say, Africans were so primitive that they were exchanging diamonds and gold for bottles of wine. That shows how ungrateful they are. That's an insult. Didn't the Africans know the value of wine? The Africans knew better because we had a better wine, that is palm wine and other sort of natural wines that we had. But the Africans believe in giving something valuable. And they thought that because they didn't know the value of gold, so they traded mirrors for gold and diamonds. But if at that point in time, they told them that they were going to colonize them, no African country would have allowed them to set foot on African soil. They came as friends, explorers, and then also the role of Christianity also played a leading role in subjugating Africans to the will of the white man. They looked at certain things and realized what Africans respect most, and then they gave themselves those titles. One, the priest was called the father. The nun was called the mother. And then the father represents God. And this God can only accept white names, European names, John and others. And so because the African is taught never to disobey the father, they went around and accepted whatever the priest said, also that he is the man of God. And also they made you to believe that, I've not seen anywhere in the Bible where they say that if you confess to a priest, your sins are forgiven. I've not seen it in the Bible anyway. So you realize that they use the church, that we are so primitive, we are so ungodly that if you want to go to heaven, you have to follow the father. And the mother is there to guide. So whereas the father took care of the males, the mother took care of the females. Everything they have to go to the mother for this and that, you know. So the Christianity came to temper down the Africans to accept what was going to become a tragedy for Africa. You'll understand that even during the slave trade also, the Christian missionaries participated fully in the sale of slaves, including the Gambia, where some Gambians were taken to the Caribbean as slaves by the particular faith of Christianity, a particular sect of denomination of Christianity. So Africans wouldn't have accepted colonialism in the first place. And the effects of colonialism, when Africans now realize that, oh, after all, everything has to be decided by a white man. Remember that in those days, even Gambians were not qualified to be secretaries. The highest post that any Gambian can expect was to be a clerk. And that was why the highest standard was standard 7. So how is it possible that everything is decided by them and not us? The first awakening was the First World War, when Africans had to go and fight to liberate certain European countries from Germans and others. Then the Second World War came and said, oh, why will we? Britain can never be colonized. And then people are like, oh, so why is Britain colonizing us? And then from the Second World War, now the die was cast for independence. Some got it peacefully. Some had to resort to war in order to liberate themselves. People like Kenyans and others, Zimbabwe, called Rhodesia. And of course, also when Africans realized that, oh, in your own country, you cannot even be named after a street. The street has to be named after an unknown person. Do you understand? And sometimes some of the streets in Banjul were named after butchers, people that butchered Africans, some of the worst creatures of humanity. They named streets after them. So Africans realized that, oh, if you have to fight to liberate them from Nazi Germany and Japan, why can't you also liberate ourselves from them? And of course, even in the battlefield, they realized the different treatments that Africans were subjected to. Even German war prisoners were treated better than African soldiers who were fighting on the coast of the West. Just like in the United States of America, German prisoners of war were better treated than what they call buffalo soldiers, those blacks that guarded them. So it came natural that, yes, we have to be ourselves. After all, this is our country. If they don't want to be dominated, why should we also allow them to dominate us? So the First World War was like an awakening call. Also, we have African visionaries that saw colonialism in its true context. People like Kwame Nkrumah, you had something Dibba. Of course, you also have people in the Caribbean, those who really started up the independence movement right inside Britain when they were scholars. So when everybody realized that, look, we are not going forward, we are going backward, it was like, yes, we should be independent. After here we are in UK, in London. All this material they are using to build this high-rise building, it's coming from Ghana, Nigeria, Gambia, whatever. And this is ours. You come to Gambia, you still live in a hellhole. I said, look, this cannot continue. After all, what they are taking to live better, like to improve upon their livelihood, is taken from us. Okay, up to today, I am yet to receive any document from the British. They said they were mining illuminite. I think the name of the company was what, Gambian Minerals? Yeah, that was the name of the company, which was under the British Titan Company. Up to today, they are yet to give us the statistics of what was taken from the country and in what quantities. So you can see that colonialism was naturally supposed to die, either a peaceful death or a violent death. And in most cases, it died a violent death.
Yes, Your Excellency, is 50 years on. In the case of other countries, 55, getting close to 60 years. Would it still be fair for some African leaders to say, yes, we're still reeling from the disastrous impact of colonialism to a point that it has drawn us back in our effort to develop our countries? People still believe.
Well, I remember what I've been saying, but I was saying it to encourage people not to think that way. But if you were colonized for 400 years of massive looting, to the extent that from a big country you are reduced to a lizard, all your flora and fauna gone, your minerals taken.
The cream of your society.
Over 400 years, the cream of your society taken. Remember that during slave trade, you can always sell for a few cents because you are not strong. People like you would not sell. So you can imagine the type of people they took. And of course, if you are coughing and sickly, they kill you. They don't send you. Or you are on board the boat and then you are sickly and start developing they throw you overboard. Now, the fact that they treated us like commodity, like cattle. Some were taken for breeding. And so that's why you have 6-footers and others in some parts of the world. They took the best for breeding. Now, if you sell cattle, if you are a commercial livestock farmer, you breed special breeds for a higher price. And they were breeding African slaves to sell better. I'm not inventing it, that's a reality. The Rockefeller started as an auction house for slaves. Do you know that? The Rockefeller family got their wealth from selling slaves. They were an auction house. They were the best auctioneers. Lloyd was a tea shop. When they installed one of, I think Queen Victoria or Queen something, slave expedition, which was risky, and it became successful. Then they became a household name in insurance. So, coming back to your question, yes, we still have a reason to blame them. But after 50 years, after that, after 18th of February, by Thursday we cannot blame anybody for if we decide to go backwards or stagnate, God forbid, or backwards, God forbid. And we cannot also praise anybody for going forward. It is our responsibility. Any human being that is who attains the age of 50, nobody can call it a boy anymore. If you are called a boy, or you can say, oh, I can still depend on my uncle and my dad. But if you now you are a man, that means you have to stand on your own. That's the African culture. So you are no longer expected to look into somebody's kitchen for your food. So by Thursday, from Thursday onwards, we cannot blame anyone if you go forward or backwards. It is ourselves. Because some countries have a lot of resources that the colonialists were exploiting and then decided to relinquish that to them. Can you imagine if in Gambia High School, which was built by the Methodists, they said they gave it to us as a gift. The then Royal Victoria Hospital, Queen Victoria was one of the worst queens you can ever think of. One of the most brutal monarchs you can ever think of in British history. They named a hospital after her. No wonder it was so small. You had the Bansang Hospital, built in the Gambia by Gambian resources, with Gambian resources. And at the time of independence, they said they gave it to us as a gift in our country. So, then, what was it? What was their contribution to national development? At the time of independence also, okay, let me better characterize colonialism in this, for the Gambia and for most countries. In the case of the Gambia, we were terminally ill and in chronic coma. The First Republic decided to resuscitate the guy who was in coma, terminally ill. The Second Republic rehabilitated him to walk and run. Now, post 50th anniversary, this same person is now supposed to be a champion in everything, from marathon to whatever. Human endeavor is supposed to be a champion, so that's the scenario. Comatose, critical, terminally ill, colonialism. First Republic was trying to resuscitate with, of course, assistance. We rejuvenated this person, treated him with local traditional medicine, and now he's up and healthy and going. After the 50th year, he is now supposed to compete in any major sport and become a world champion. And that's what Gambia is, without depending on anybody. Now he is on his own. We are on our own. That does not mean that we are not friends to anybody. We are friends to everybody, except those who do not want to be our friends. But gone on Thursday would be the days where we have to count somebody, on somebody, or any institution to even build a laterite road. Gone would be the days where we have to count on the World Bank and IMF for anything. By the grace of the Almighty Allah, as from Thursday, we are on our own, and whatever we want to build will be dependent on our decision and not the availability of outside resources, by the grace of the Almighty Allah. So we still have to blame. Imagine 400 years where they were taking the best. Whatever you have, whatever is good, they take it. If it is 50 years and you live another, then you have independence for 50 years. Yes, 50-50. But it's 50 years compared to 400 years. And in 400 years, they didn't build a single high school. I mistakenly said they used to build only one high school. After Armitage was not built by them. It was on a tacit basis for the traditional rulers. One highway in 400 years, it was not even a highway because it was 4 meters wide. So imagine how many Gambians died, Gambian drivers died on the Banjul Soma Basse Highway. I think that was a hill that was synonymous with instant death for drivers. Helakunda. Or Jahali Konko. Jahali Konko. A lot of people died there. Jawara came and then fixed the problem. Not many people died then. Now it has stopped. So that comes from comatose. He's now being resuscitated. Now he's up and running. Now he has to run a marathon. That is after 18th of February 2015. So, yes and yes. In whatever form, colonialism, up to 50 years of independence, colonialism should be blamed. Because if they didn't include slavery, one thing they didn't tell you, to show you that African history is false, written by the Europeans is false. Did they tell you how many people Gambians starved because they are farmers, their breadwinners were taken and sold into slavery? Now, if you take the cream of the society also, the people with the best genes are taken away. No wonder the former president of the United States said, what I see is wretched, disease-infested people. If you take the healthiest, if you have a herd of cattle and I take the best bulls and heifers, what will be the next yield? And leave only old ones. So that answers your question. So as from Thursday, we are on our own. And it does not only mean as a country. Gambians also should now graduate from the dependency syndrome. From Thursday upwards, until Yahya Yomidin, the Gambia will be benefit from your contribution, contributing what you will benefit. And that is in national development, your attitude towards the country. In terms of individuals, individual contribution to national development, you should expect to benefit from what you have contributed. If you are not contributing, don't expect to benefit from the contribution of others. So which means all of us are duty bound to contribute to national development for all of us to benefit. Secondly, you should spend from what you earn and earn what you spend. So the idea that Kebba Dibba is the DG, GRTS is my uncle or is my cousin, let me go there for lunch. It doesn't have to be every day, unless somebody finds himself or herself in circumstances beyond control. So, you eat what you grow, grow what you eat, either directly or indirectly. So, what does that mean after the Golden Jubilee? You will not depend on me for your food, unless it is circumstances beyond your control. You will not depend on me for your clothing, unless you are under circumstances beyond your control. And so you will not also depend on me for your feeding, unless there are circumstances beyond your control. This dependency syndrome, the extended family system is not bad. It's an brilliant idea. But you should not negate it by depending on others, especially where you see young, able-bodied men just sitting down expecting an uncle to give them whatever they want, or they want to go to Babylon. So things have to change, attitudes have to change, we have to be independent. If you eat what you grow, you are only independent in terms of what you eat. But if your clothing has to come from me, you are still not independent. If apart from eating, your welfare is dependent on me, so you are not still independent. So for us to be really completely independent, we must depend, we can only depend 100% on the Almighty Allah, and that's it, and depend on ourselves. And then let the efforts of others or the benevolence of others, generosity of others, be complementary to our own well-being. And it shouldn't be our own effort be complementary to the benevolence of others. That is, where your entire existence depends, 98% depends on what somebody gives you. It's un-Islamic, it's ungodly. It's un-Christian. Because in both the Bible and the Quran, Allah says that you should live by your sweat. And we should also take one thing very seriously, our neighbors. All the hadiths I've seen on the Saudi Sunnah channel, and all the books I've read, even the Quran and the Bible, talk about the importance of living in harmony with your neighbors. They don't have, not relatives, but neighbors. And a neighbor is a neighbor, can be anybody. And so we should take care of each other as citizens and non-citizens. Anybody in this country is a Gambian, unless you leave the jurisdiction, because whatever happens here, if you commit a crime, you'll be tried by the laws of the Gambia. If you are sick, also the first port of call will be Gambians taking care of you. So you are a Gambian unless you leave the jurisdiction of this country. So whilst in this country, it is an obligation upon you to do what is in the best interest of the country, to yourself, the people, your neighbors, and whoever is associated with you. I don't care whether you are white or green or yellow or whatever. As far as I'm concerned, the color doesn't matter to me. We don't, as a Muslim, we judge you by the fact that you are created by Allah. And that is where the box stops. Anything else will not be decided by your color or how handsome or otherwise you are, or how beautiful or otherwise you are, or how tall or short you are. It will be, you will be judged by what you do. Good, we encourage you. Bad, we discourage you. Which good involves encouragement and reward. Bad, discouraging and punishment. So we're not punishing because you are Kebba, Dibba, an illegal immigrant in Fonyi. We'll punish you because Kebba, Dibba is stealing cattle. Or we praise you not because you are Kebba, Dibba, an illegal immigrant in Fonyi, because you are in Fonyi. No. We praise you because Kebba, Dibba from somewhere kicked out of Kiang to Fonyi is doing good. So we will not judge you by your religion. As far as my administration is concerned, I will not judge you by your religion. Because Allah has already made judgment in Surah Al-Kafirun. So, Surah Al-Kafirun, it is Allah's judgment. He said, worship what you believe, I worship what I believe. You not believe in what I believe, you not worship what I worship. I will also not believe in what you believe, not worship what you worship. Follow a religion, I follow my religion. And that is where it stopped, the Quran. You never say, I'll kill you because you will not believe in what I believe. Or I'll oblige you to believe in what I believe. But one thing also is very clear. In whatever you believe, leave my religion alone. Now, where you want to believe in your religion and want to dictate to me how my religion is, this is you crossing dynamite, a minefield, which is unacceptable. So this is the way it is. We must be independent, not only as a nation, but as individuals and as communities, as villages and towns. We must take our development into our own hands. Our destiny is in the hands of the Almighty Allah, but we are also responsible how we live in this country and how this country should be. And that is why national unity is very important. positive contribution is very important. Peace and stability will not be compromised. Religion will not be compromised. Our religion, our religious beliefs as Muslims or Christians will not be altered by any outside force. Because nobody can come to the Gambia today and teach Christians anything new about Christianity. Nobody will come anywhere outside to come and teach Gambians about Islam. We can exchange ideas, but we are not going to accept new invented ideas that is creating so much suffering for humanity, not only Muslims, but the majority of those who are being slaughtered are Muslims by so-called Islamic militants or whatever is not in the Quran. Whatever is not in the Quran is haram. Killing innocent people. Yesterday I was shocked to see that they call it Islamic State of Iraq and Lebanon. Islamic State. I said, Islamic State. Saudi Arabia is an Islamic state. They are not slaughtering Christians. That is true Islam. Islamic Republic of Mauritania is an Islamic state. And so likewise other Islamic countries that use Sharia as a law. And you have these people that kill everybody. You kill children for watching football. I don't know how but those who created them also are not even Muslims. They were created to give Islam a bad image, and that is exactly what they are doing. And then they attribute it to Islam. It has nothing to do with Islam. ISIL can only stand for one thing. International sons of infamy and lying. They cannot be an Islamic state. International sons of infamy and lying. They are not Islam. It's an insult to Islam. It's blasphemous to call them Muslims. I saw what they did to the Jordanian pilot. But before that, I've seen what they did in Syria when they were being pressed by the West. Even conventional warfare that has nothing to do with jihad. There are conventions that protect the rights of prisoners of war. Even if they are wounded, you have to treat them. That's not the case with this vermin that perambulate around calling themselves Muslims. They took more than 50 soldiers up a high-rise building. And what was shocking, these people are saying, I'm a Muslim like you, but for the grace of the Prophet and the Almighty Allah and His Prophet, I'm a Muslim, I'm a family man. They say, Allah Akbar, and drop him. And when you drop, imagine 5 stories up or 7 stories, you drop down on a concrete pavement, and if you move, somebody's there to finish you up. They say, Allah Akbar. That is shameful. That's an insult to every Muslim. That's an in fact, they insult the Prophet, our Prophet, more than those who draw cartoons of the Prophet. Because maybe those who draw, they don't even know. But we call ourselves Muslims and do something that is diametrically opposed to what our Prophet taught us. Allah said, don't kill anybody, any innocent person. If you kill one innocent person, He didn't say Muslim. If you kill one innocent person, it's like you have killed the whole of humanity. You think the churches were there before the mosques, before the Prophet ﷺ came. Jesus Christ came before him. The pyramids in Egypt were there before the Prophet. You think the Prophet ﷺ didn't know that the didn't see the pyramids in Egypt? Or the churches? The first hijrah was to Abyssinia, Africa, Ethiopia. So go to that land of Abyssinia. The ruler there believes in the same God that you believe in. Today, these people would have killed him because he's not a Muslim. So you can see the difference. As far as I'm concerned and as far as I know, there has never been a battle at the Kebba. The Prophet ﷺ avoided a battle at the Kebba. In his jihad, until the Kebba was handed over to him, these people surrendered and said, now take the Kebba. Tell me where, during the Prophet's ﷺ's jihad, did they demolish a church or a synagogue, because the synagogues also were there. The Prophet ﷺ, Allah was talking to him either directly or through Gabriel. And he says he will not do this and that. Remember the guy who killed Hamza surrendered. People that were about to kill him, they later surrendered and said, we've converted to Islam. He let them go. Sometimes even to the objections of disapproval of Omar. But he told them, let them go. Also, the prophet, the lady who cooked for him goat meat that led to his illness was Jewish. She confessed. She said her people were being humiliated. As far as I know, as far as my little knowledge goes, they didn't kill her. So you have these ignorant sons of infamy and lying, calling themselves Muslims, killing people and then saying Allah Akbar. In fact, even during the pilgrimage, in fact, it is stated, Allah said, in the sacred mosque, whilst you are praying, others can stand guard, but avoid fighting in the sacred mosque. The month of Ramadan, say, avoid fighting in the month of Ramadan, unless if you are attacked. Now, look at this. I'm lost for a better description for these people. That's the time they kill people. Today, every Friday, a mosque is bombed by people that say Allah Akbar. So we should wipe them out. In fact, for me, they are even more offensive than those who drew cartoons. Because they are ignorant. But the people we should wipe out, those who took up guns against the people that did the cartoons should have taken the guns against ISIL and others that are defaming Islam, disgracing Islam, desecrating Islam, and the name of our Prophet ﷺ, and making the name of Allah a joke, a license to commit murder.
Your Excellency, looking at these groups, their proliferation over the past decade or decade and a half, really, and it's alarming. You talk about the ISIS, you talk about the Boko Haram, you talk about Al-Shabaab, the numbers go on. Nobody seems to be capable of defeating them, yet everybody is fighting them.
Not everybody is fighting them. And they are not invincible. You see, the same forces that created them are pretending to fight them, but at the same time arming them. Now, ISIL for that matter, ignorant sons of infamy, or international sons of infamy and lying. They have tanks, they have artillery, they have whatever. Who is supplying them? Because they expend a lot of ammunition. Who is replenishing them? But in the first place also, okay, you can say in those days they had refineries for themselves. Didn't the West know that these people have a refinery? But they never cared until 3 or 4 Westerners were killed. They were praising them when they were in Syria, when they were created to fight Assad. But Assad also told them something. You are arming terrorists. Oh, Assad's days are numbered, he's scared. He said, but they will end up fighting you. And this is exactly what has happened. The late Ayatollah Khomeini told them, the Americans, you are arming Saddam Hussein to fight me. After me, he will fight you. And that prediction has come to pass. Assad said it. Oh, he's desperate, he's this and that. To the extent that when they negotiate, they will not even invite him, as if he was an outlaw. So, criminal elements that were trained to get rid of him were more a legitimate government than a deeply entrenched government that has ruled Syria for more than 30 years. Now imagine if they can hate Assad for whatever reason, but the reality also is that they didn't hate him because he was maltreating his people. Do they care about the welfare of Syrians? No. If they cared, why are Syrians starving around the world? Lebanon is overburdened with refugees. And none of those countries, they are 10 times bigger and wealthier than Lebanon. Why can't they take Syrian refugees since they were the friends of Syria? Today now, in fact, a Syrian refugee to go to the US would be more difficult because they will say, oh, we are concerned about Islamization of Europe. We don't even know whether you are a member of ISIL. When they created all these institutions. From Al-Qaeda, they created it. They used to call them the People's Mujahideen against the Islamic Revolution. The Soviet invasion of Afghanistan also created the People's Mujahideen. And that gave rise to Al-Qaeda and the Taliban. When the Taliban took over Afghanistan, the only country that recognized them in the West were the Americans. And they forced Pakistan and some other countries to recognize them. The Taliban government in Afghanistan was only recognized by not more than 4 countries in the whole world, because they were there for a purpose. Some countries were coerced into recognizing them to give them some semblance of legality. But the reality was the Taliban, just like the Kumarus in Southeast Asia, were created to give communism a very nasty image. So also is the creation of the Taliban, Al-Qaeda, and others. The reality of the situation is a war against Islam. Am I afraid of those who fight against Islam? I'm not, because they are going to fail in my presence. They will crawl before Islam, no matter how powerful they are. And it's very soon. So, of course, when you sponsor somebody to fight Islam, it turns against you. It's good for you. If you train hyenas to hunt my cattle, and they turn around and bite you, should I cry for you? No, I will not. Because you want, in the attack against my cattle, if they had killed me also, you will not shed tears. That's the reality of the situation.
Then what is your take on the future of Africa? I was watching television with one friend. Your interview was being aired. And then at the end of the interview, he made this remark. He said, oh God, there aren't many like him. That's the unfortunate side of the story. He said, Africa's problem is leadership. When you stand and look around yourself, I mean, among your contemporaries, do you feel lonely? in respect of the views and ideas that you stand for?
If you believe in the Almighty Allah, you can never be lonely. You can never be pessimistic. It's just a closing chapter. Because thanks to the Almighty Allah, today more Africans are conscious than before. Remember in 94, 20 years ago, when I talk about the West, people say, yeah, tell him we support him, but if you antagonize the white man, it's going to make us suffer. Everybody was made to believe that without them, we cannot prosper. We have prospered without them. So, I'm not pessimistic. It's just a closing chapter of Africa's history. The future of Africa, by the grace of the Almighty Allah, is very bright.
But the
This
argument
joke
is that
leadership they are going, most of them will not win elections. They will not be re-elected. Even if they rig the election, that will be a bigger catastrophe. You had butchers like Burkina Faso's Blaise Compaoré. Poor Charles Taylor, I told him, you follow and butcher people in Sierra Leone, you end up in prison. This man will not go to prison because he's been backed by powerful countries in the world, because he's serving their interests. Today, okay, Blaise is no longer a president, but he's not a prisoner. One day he may face the ICC or go to jail in his own country for what he did in Sierra Leone, Liberia, and Cote d'Ivoire. But by the time, if he lives long enough for Charles Taylor to leave prison, he would be an old sorry man of himself, old man of himself. So, Gaddafi also is gone. Gaddafi was the author of all this because he thought that black Africans should be ruled by him. And they decided to attack Liberia and others for the interests of the West. I know Gaddafi more than any person that knows him. People are taking credit for the end of the war in Sierra Leone. The Quran is here. What ended the war in Sierra Leone is not the UN or the intervention of the UN. Yes, Gaddafi is gone, but I have living witnesses who were with him and they were interpreting. I ended the war in Sierra Leone. I ended the war in Sierra Leone. And I told Gaddafi, if you don't stop supplying arms to the RUF, not only would we not support you with regards to resolving the Lockerbie crisis openly, but now it will be my turn to campaign against you, including what you are doing. I told him I went to Sierra Leone and I've seen how the hands were cut. You better put an end to it. I called Charles Taylor, he's still alive, and his wife is my witness, he's still alive. And I told him, stop the war, because Gaddafi is no longer going to give you arms. He said, you mean the leader, the brother leader? I said, yes, the brother leader. If you don't disassociate yourself with these people, you will be next. The war will come back to you, and you will lose, and you go to prison. Or that would be better for you, because otherwise you're going to be a dead man. I have a Gambian who was this deputy ADC to Charles Taylor, who was there when I was talking. And he used to tell, you see, this man is so unpredictable, and he speaks with such authority and from a small country, and the guy said, he knows what he's talking about. He called Gaddafi. Gaddafi told him that he called me and he threatened me. And definitely I have to stop supplying weapons. The weapons dried up. And the consignment of diamonds they took, they didn't pay them. They didn't pay the RUF. And to solve the problem, they decided to wipe out Mosquito and others. Johnny Paul Koroma, JP Koroma. Yeah, when he came, he was having University of Maryland t-shirt on. Where is he? when the trial started, it's our sister and others who would not listen to me in Liberia. I was the only head of state who spent a night in the executive mansion. Not even Charles Taylor was sleeping there. Obasanjo is my witness. I went there, we went there, Obasanjo and others, Alpha Kona, to talk to the RUF and Charles Taylor. And I spent the night there. There are still Gambians around who were there, who were guarding Charles Taylor. And Charles Taylor would not want me to see them because I made it very clear. Any day I see them, they are going home. Or I go to the UN and claim that you are holding Gambian mercenaries. And we are also a member of the Security Council then. He never listened to me. Now, when everything was, Isa Sise was so arrogant that in fact, whilst Obasanjo and others were talking, he was just talking to somebody else. I tell you, you are very arrogant. You will regret this because you are younger than me. And if it is a question of bravery, I'm more brave than you. Because what you are doing is just kill innocent people and you're going to die like a dog. When his trial started, he wanted me to defend him. He said he was the only one who listened. Because all of them listened to him. If he said no, it's no. And he said no in our face. I said, oh, you want me to go and testify that you told us no in our face? And you were so arrogant. The Sierra Leonean tribunal, they wanted me to testify. And I said, I will never testify to save you. I will tell the truth, and the truth will hang you. So you are better off me not testifying. But I say, Gaddafi is gone by divine intervention. Charles Taylor is in jail. Les Campara is in asylum. He destroyed West Africa. How many people died in Cote d'Ivoire before Alassane Ouattara can step into the presidential palace? Was it worth it? The Americans had a problem as who won the election. Did they fight? Did they go to the Supreme Court to decide? Did a dog die? So why should Africans die when we have a dispute about who won the election? Is it abnormal for people to dispute who won the elections?
So what's your take on the future of this continent?
It's very bright. Well, Africans know their leaders now. In different countries, their citizens know what their leaders stand for. And if you stand for the foreign interest, then it tells you that no matter how wealthy the country is, your people will be backward and they'll be dying across the Atlantic, and this is what is happening. So nobody's a fool today. You know, when they invented the internet, and then started to back it up with social websites or social sites, thinking that that's the way we can now use to spy on countries and bring mayhem and regime change. They didn't know that it was going to backfire in their face. So everybody knows that when the West, they are lying, everybody knows. When they're telling the truth, everybody knows. So the truth can never be hidden. The lies can never be masked as truth. So what they created is coming back to haunt them. So Africans are no longer fools. Before, it would take you 10 years from a village to know the price of gold in the world market. Today, you sit in a cave and you know the price of gold. And then you can also know how much your country is producing, exporting gold. So you put everything together, you know how much your country is going to have. And then you ask yourself, where is all that money going to? Can you imagine Gulf states that started, Dubai and others, that started producing petroleum and gas not more than 40 years ago. And African countries that have been producing oil and gas for the past 200 years. Compare them to these new countries. Compare Qatar to any of the African oil-producing countries. And Qatar, their main power is gas. Look at Dubai. Compare them to Africa's largest producer of oil and gas. When did they start? Where they are today, and those who started decades ago. Africans are no longer sleeping. Do not be pessimistic about the future of Africa. You should be proud that these leaders, they are living on borrowed time. They are all going. And better leaders will come. Africans are no longer going to suffer because now They know that they run from Africa and go to Europe only to die on the coast. If they don't die in the coast, die in the sea, they end up in a prison called asylum seekers camp. And I challenge the West to send independent television crews to go and film those camps. They are worse than a pigsty. And they tell you about human rights. Africans who have not committed any offense in Africa are put in situations where not even their pigs would stay. There was recent demonstrations by some good French people complaining about the way asylum seekers have been treated in France. Their camp, that it was subhuman, that in Europe, that is talking about democracy, people will live like that. And they will not allow cameras in. So now Africans know that what they tell you is a lie. If I say I love your children, I hate you because you are a bad father. At least you how they are eating decently. They run to me and I lock them in a pigsty. Or lock them up in a barn, and all they eat is cow dung. When they will know that the father they were running away from is better than this. All they are interested in Africa is our wealth. And the only way they can get it cheaply is to make sure that we don't develop any industry to process them. Secondly, we are unstable. How come most of the rebels that are in mineral-rich countries, the first target they occupy is mineral, where you have the mineral resources. And now they become even more powerful than the national army of that country. Where are they getting the weapons from? How are they buying?
Your Excellency, I would like to bring this interview to an end, but the final question. There is no doubt you are compassionate. You are generous.
Am I?
Yes, there is no doubt about that. Your Excellency, you have demonstrated this many times. You have Gambians outside.
Good.
Some might have wronged you, some might have fallen
Wrong
foul
me or
of the
the
law
yes.
of this country. They are outside this country. Some perhaps have realized their mistakes. They want to make amends. They want to come back. They want to join your bandwagon to develop this country. What message do you have for people like that who are outside this country?
You call them people.
Any kind of amnesty?
I'm not a pretentious Muslim, I'm a real Muslim. And Allah says that if you are not grateful to people, you cannot be grateful to them, to Allah. And if you are also not forgiving, Allah may not also forgive you. Don't categorize something as personal. I have nothing personal against any one of them. I've done a new page against somebody who wrote a nasty book that was all full of lies. He realized that it was a bunch of lies. And that's something. So he said, I said, well, what I said is not true. I made something inside an army commander when he never expected to be a company commander. Most of these people that are talking, some of them I don't even know. I have no personal problems with them. But because they belong to a decadent system that we have to overthrow, they say that is not going to happen. And that means what Allah will, they say is not going to happen. And that's why they are where they are. But if it is a question of pardon, I have nothing against any one of them. Some of them I will not forgive for obvious reasons. A few of them. But the rest are free to come home. They are not even necessarily supposed to come and support me. That's their business. That's not my business. Do I need them? If they come and support, that's it. If they come and be on their own, it's not a problem. But if they want to come and think that, oh, we have been pardoned and they want to come and destabilize the country, I'll wipe them out. Anybody who wants to use any means to come in and destroy the country, I will destroy you. Even if the sky is going to explode. I'm not afraid of anybody or any power for that matter. They were insulting my mom. This Fala Balde, he was insulting my mom. Lami Manga had him. We explained to the Americans that this is not a demonstration, this is an assault. We explained to them what they were saying. I said, oh, you know, they say worse things to Obama. But that's their system. A system where there are no moral values, whereas you can insult somebody's mother. But after all, what is it? They are free to come back to this country. But come back and be decent citizens of this country and work for the interest and peace and security of this country. Anything other than that, I will wipe them out. I have nothing against it. They can come and they are free. Some of them I will not. And they know themselves. But the rest, they can come home. Those who personalize everything, I'm not going to let them come back. If they come, they are going to jail. We will take them before a court of law and deal with them. Those who want to come in and say, oh, he pardoned us, so let's go. Now we are far away, we are close by. Now we can destabilize the country from within. I will wipe them out. So anybody who wants for the peace and security of this country to contribute to that and live peacefully in this country, you are welcome. And those, if they are not so, they can come through elders, Muslim elders, or Supreme Islamic Council, or anything for that matter. If I did not forgive them, I wouldn't say I would have not forgiven them. But those I have not forgiven, they know themselves. Those ones I would not. They are just a few, less than 10. And they know themselves. Gambians know them who they are. Because they do not wish this country anything good. These are people that were known because of me, because of my government. And today anything evil is piled up on the Gambia. Yahya Jammeh. Enough is enough. And also let them stay there and think that they are safe. How many of them have gone anyway? Who think that they are safe where they are? Wait until after the 50th anniversary. If they think that there is no God, they are making a grave mistake. Grave mistake. But the others, I swear to God, they can come. But the ones I'm talking about, they are less than 10. Those ones, I will not forgive them. Because Allah also will not forgive Iblis. But the rest, I don't care what they were saying. They realized that they were lying, they are coming back. Alhamdulillah. That's what I want. I want peace for this country. I want reconciliation. I'm not fake. But through reconciliation, not where it will be a Trojan horse, where they come in and say, oh, now we are waiting, let us attack. I would wipe them out without trial. And I'm saying it, Marco, te daradu sigena. Yes.
Your Excellency.
So those small boys and these was let them come home. Because I told them, okay. You know, we had worse elements also in Libya. And some years ago, I think Bakar Kamari, we were there, when I was telling her at the hotel that, let me make it very clear that no matter how long you stay here, you can never turn into Libyans. And whatever you are doing against the Gambia, one day you land into my hands. And that was why initially when we wanted to evacuate people, they said there were only a few people. They thought I was going to avenge for what they did, or what they were doing against the Gambia. Did we take anybody from Libya to trial? Some of them would have gone to trial and charged with treason. That's not what I believe in. I believe in what Allah says, that Inna Allaha ma'a sabir. Allah is always with those who are patient and forgiving. That is why most people don't know the essence of Surah Al-Asr. It's very short, but it's very powerful. So who am I not to forgive? I always pray to God and ask Him to forgive for my sins. And the next world is longer than this. It's better than this. Depending, of course, if you are in Dibba Kunda, that's not good. But if you are in Jammeh Kunda, that's heaven, Jannah. You see, my son is not far from heaven, you know. Mm-hmm. Jannah and Jammeh.
And it's not far from peace.
Yes. So, look, to be quite honest, Also, let them not come and say, yeah, I'm a graduate of this and this and that, and if I come, what job are you going to give me? Let them not ask me for any job. Because some of them, that's what they do. Oh, I've graduated, I have this and that, and I want a job. They tell you, I want to be a minister, but I want to be paid this. I'm not going to do that. Before I give you consideration, I will give consideration to the Gambians who suffered with us, who never, despite their qualification, decided to stay in this country. That is the first priority. You cannot wait until everything is fine. Now it's harvest time. You come and tell me, yes, I will harvest the best part of it. What about Gambians who toiled to reach this stage? So nobody tell me, I want to come, but I want to have this job and we pay this amount. I have no jobs for anybody. Let them go and apply like any other Gambian. They are lucky. That doesn't mean they will not have jobs, because Allah decides what you get. But let nobody tell me his qualification and think that I'll give him a job. I'll give a job to Gambians that have been here. Yes.
Final question, Mr. President?
That was your final question. That's what you said.
Okay. Then parting question.
What is the difference between parting and final? If you show me a reasonable difference, then I would take your parting question.
Final is final, but parting is final.
No wonder.
Okay.
What's the name of Sintet Primary School?
St. John's Bosco.
St. John's Bosco. You know John Bosco?
I don't know.
You know any Gambian whose son is Bosco?
No.
Not that. You don't. So I give you your final.
Yeah, my question is, you've been calling on Gambian people to change their attitude ever since you came to power. And assuming independence means assuming responsibility for your own well-being.
But that's what I said.
Yes, that's what I'm going to say.
Yeah.
How far have you come in terms of changing our attitudes? Our attitudes towards one another, our attitudes towards work, and our attitude towards our own country?
Attitudes are like a stain. The longer and deeper the stain is, the more difficult to get rid of it. But I am very grateful to the Almighty Allah. One of the most important attitudinal change that I've always been praying for, though I didn't advocate for it openly, is adherence to our religion, the call to Islam. And I'm very grateful, because I know even when you are going to Muslim, you call it Muslim high school, you only go to attend gamos for either to eat meat or to look for some oath speaking and see that the father is at the gamo for you to go to the home. Am I right? If you deny, you swear. You think I didn't know you when you were going to...
Let's proceed with the interview.
No.
Okay.
You think I didn't know you when you were going to Muslim high?
No, probably you knew me.
You know Alpha Robinson?
Yes.
Was he not at
Yes, I knew him.
Billy Job?
Yes, I know them.
Good. So, today, in those days, even on during Friday prayer, you always see very small boys going after their dad, boys that were too close to their dad going to the mosque. And that's Friday prayers. Today, every daily prayer in the Gambia, you go to a mosque, is full of young people. Now, cannot be a better attitudinal change, a more positive attitudinal change than people abandoning evil, abandoning the wilderness and going towards God. This is the biggest achievement we've made. And for that, also now it's translating into behavioral change. Behavioral attitudinal change. What we have succeeded in greatly is the spiritual attitudinal change. Now that we have people, the fear of Allah in everybody, now everybody has a positive sense of direction, the rest will fall in place. It's not an easy task. 30 years, 20 years. It's not an easy task, but we'll be able to achieve it, for which I am proud. So, yes, we still have a long way to go, but at least the most difficult journey has been completed. Moving people towards God, be a Muslim or Christian, especially young people, once they have the fear of Allah, be they Muslim or Christian, then you will have solved 80% of the problem. The president can talk, the police can talk, the army can talk, anybody can talk, the religious leaders can talk. They know we will sleep. We cannot see everything, but when they know that Allah, they fear Allah because they know that whatever, they cannot do anything without Allah knowing. And they fear what Allah is going to do. That is a very positive change. And I'm proud of that. And I thank the Almighty Allah and the Gambian people for embracing Suratul Mustaqim. So it's not a mean achievement. How many before would call a gamo and then people, it will be full? If it is full, by 4 o'clock you go, it's all gone. Today you go, a gamo, you organize it up to 6 o'clock in the morning, people are there. Young people for that matter. Or they tell, boy, they don't them chasing. And hey, boy, take gamo la de. And the them si jumai. Boy, if you pay, if you pay religion. Boy, man, take maulud na mi madam nenda ma chasing. In those days, some of you, the month of fasting, month of Ramadan was a big scoop for those who want to penetrate the homes of very cantankerous fathers. It was the month of Ramadan that, thank God, there are certain things I can say. I saw the worst part of Gambia in the month of Ramadan. And I've always prayed, I ask Bagari Kamal, when he used to patrol at night, month of Ramadan. One night was drought. Allah Akbar. So, the most important thing, which is the key to success, is spiritual change, and we have achieved that. The rest is good. It may be, it's not even as slow as it used to be. Now people have respect for their parents. People have respect and care for each other, even for their younger brothers and sisters. There's sympathy in the hearts of young people. Gone are the days when in broad light in Banjul, Hagan, you go, they stab you with a broken bottle, or they threaten you. It's gone. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but most of those perpetrators are foreigners. And I've been telling the police, you better wipe them out or I wipe you out, kick them out of the country. Because Banjul was the most dangerous. Cameroon, Hagan, Liman used to be very dangerous. Abdai, of course, used to be well known for that, notorious for that. But it has changed. It's not that it's completely gone, but it has gone down drastically. And the number of young people that go to the mosque today far supersedes the number of elderly people that go to the mosque. In 20 years, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin. Yes. I'm proud of the attitudinal change of the Gambians because this is the most important. They can fear the president, but the president of Alhamdulillah. But if they fear Allah and know that Allah would never sleep, He will never be sick, He will always be around, that's the most important achievement. But still, there are attitudes that need to be changed. You see, if you are a Muslim, you cannot be a Muslim half and half. You cannot choose what you want to do in Islam and what you don't want to do. And that is where it is important for parents, mothers and fathers, uncles and guardians, to take their responsibilities as parents and guardians very seriously, because the Almighty Allah is going to judge us. You see the mode of dress of Muslim girls in this country. One, even without religion, it is an insult to our culture. Religion aside, it is an insult to our culture. More so to our religion, be it Muslim or Christian. But what is even interesting is that you will not see a Christian girl behave that way. You go to Facebook, You go to any of these websites. My daughter, your daughter, somebody else's daughter is sending naked pictures to somebody. Naked pictures. Now, no wonder we have semester weddings, marriages that will not live long to the next semester. Because if a good person comes to marry you, believing that you are a good girl, marries you only for somebody to send him pictures, or send you pictures of your wife being naked, even flies seeing whatever she has. Obviously, you would know that this is not the wife for somebody, a God-fearing, respectable person. And that's why sometimes you wonder, how come? It's just, they were married 3 months ago. And sometimes they write to me, so say, I'm a single mother, so many years old. So what? Why are you a single mother? Single mom? It's not that all the time boys are bad. I will not be prejudicial to anybody because Allah is going to judge me. At first I thought it was, look, the boys are to be blamed. I'm part of the boys. I talked to some people and the stories they told me, I was shocked. And I have to verify from close associates of that particular Libya for them to tell me. They didn't tell you the worst bit of it. Now, how would you feel if you marry somebody, say a girl, she might say, oh, you have money. She marries you because of your money. And anybody who's a gold digger goes to the mine with the most gold. So if you marry a gold digger, know that she will end up in the hands of the one with the biggest gold mine. Is that a wife? No. People should teach their children to love because of the sake of love, for the sake of Islam. Somebody is called a Walakana today. Oh, my son would be a Walakana to me. You don't have. Allah said, okay, you didn't make an effort, maybe, or for some reason you are poor. And now you're saying that your daughter will not be married to a poor person. And her mother is married to you and you are poor. The mother doesn't have a father or parents. But today you see both parents telling, wala kanabi, kiko hamne fele la joge. But tubab, as soon as a tubab comes off, even if it smells like onions, hey, tubab inumbahe. Why? Because not because you like him, but we think that he has all the wealth and he's going to give it to you. Nga nako de nga so nga gene ni si kër gi de gis nga ni kër gi mel. Yes. Oh, you see how we live. We hope that everything you take care of it. The white man say, what am I getting myself into? I have to get them out of this compound. Then they calculate and say, let me have a good time with the girl and let her go. So this is the problem. Attitude, unfortunately, despite the rise in religious faith, materialism is challenging that. That people can do anything just for material. Materialism is superseding humanity and even the belief and worship of Allah. And this is the most dangerous phase we face. This is what gives me sleepless nights. You see young girls being forced into prostitution to get something because, you are more beautiful than the other. Oh, mommy, I want this. Why can't you go and do what your colleagues are doing? And you call yourself a Muslim, Aja or Alhaji. Or for us men, we abandon everything to the woman. Sometimes also you cannot blame the mothers. They are overburdened with responsibility. And it seems that they are even closer to our children than we, the fathers. But that does not in any way mean that you should despair and force them into something evil. You have a long way to go. Today also, some religious leaders also are are not blameless. You call recitation, in fact, even funerals. How do you call is it? Fidao. They select fidaus of only wealthy people. A wealthy person, they know that there's a lot of money going to flow.
No, you have this
So
kind
you
of,
make money at funerals.
you have this kind of scenario where they have a book. At a funeral, you come, what you put
I hope
in
you are
there.
not their secretary.
You are no, sir, I'm not. But then they sit at funerals, what you put in, they write your name, and then they write the figure against it.
Where they commercialize, instead of commiserate with funerals. This is a cause for concern. And all this rotten behavior is Muslim girls. 98% of all this rotten behavior in this country is Muslims. As you see Christians, you think they are not as poor as we are? But they believe in something more valuable than the world, doing what is good, teaching children to be content with what they have. Take what you owe. Don't take what you do not own. Be content with what you have. Don't look for something you don't have in any way possible. Not long ago, about 3-4 days ago, there was this program saying Girl Talk. And one ugly girl was saying, Mantambuga na dem Europe. Even small days, oh, you also want to go? Of course, Tamabuga them. Go. If you are in trouble, the government will never intervene to rescue you. Yeah, go and be a prostitute in the streets. That's what you want. But I know the parents must have seen her. And one guy said, oh, going to Europe does not mean that we don't want ourselves or we want to die, but we have to go. Let him go. And let him go and see whether he will reach Europe. By the grace of the Almighty Allah. Let him go and see whether he will cross the Atlantic. Billahi wa la ta'ala. What are you going to go do in Europe that you can do in this country and not become a billionaire in this country? But everybody, as the sapling is bent, so shall it grow into a tree. But the parents have failed the children, especially the male parents. We, the fathers, have failed our children. We, the Muslim parents, have failed our children. I always have a bunch of students and whatever. You will never hear a Christian child knock his foot against something or trip over something and then say something bad. But the Muslims, la ilaha illallah. They see something and then they, and here, your child at the age of 10 starts insulting mothers. He is the day is still 24 hours. Monday is still Monday. You say the world has changed. You have changed, but the world hasn't changed. The world will change when the sun rises from where? From the west and settles in the east. Then you know the world has changed. Then you are walking and you see the sky down. Then the world has changed. Other than that, all the change we are talking about is with the human race. I fear for this country. You can see when you're distributing something, mothers teaching their children to be thieves. That one has nothing to do with men. When I distribute things, you see where women are concerned. They grab somebody's child and say, Jomako, madam, move them jail, after they move them back to the mother. What are you teaching the child? Stealing. It has happened before my eyes on several occasions. Sometimes I have to tell the show, go and tell that, call that woman to come to me. Yangejanga Sado Musaja did it. Okay, I'm now, Nyanan Amut, Yanko Amudemat. Then Shona. Then I decided to take all what you have and give it to somebody who is honest. What are you teaching your children? If you tell them that cheating is okay, the mother does that. You stand, you change position, you go and take twice. When your fellow Gambians do not have. This is the infatuation with materialism to the extent that moral values are put to the backbone, and it is unfortunate.
Your Excellency, on that note, I would like to bring this interview to an end.
I wish every Gambian very happy, glorious 50th anniversary. And know that as you celebrate this 50th anniversary, you should say goodbye to dependence. In whatever form, dependence on your parents or dependence on your uncles, you should be on your own. And that everybody has a stake to play, a stake in the socio-economic development of this country. Before you ask for benefits, you should first contribute. If you ask yourself whether I have contributed, if I have not contributed, then you don't deserve any benefits from the system. All of us, there's nobody who can say, I have no role to play. Every living creature has a role to play. And that does not apply only to Gambians. It applies to anybody in this country. All people in this country are citizens of this country. As long as they are here because they are governed by the laws of the Gambia, they are under the purview of the Gambia government and the people of the Gambia. So let us work together in a positive way. We will not accept intolerance in whatever form, but we will also not be dictated to in whatever form. In our religion, in what way we do things, we will do the things in the best interest of this country and as true Muslims and true Christians. I wish you all the best. May the years ahead make Gambia the best country on earth, and we are the ones to ensure of that. To ensure that Gambia becomes an economic superpower by 2025, without fail. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin. 5 years from now, people will start forgetting so many countries that are, even in the mass of birds today, even insects talk about certain countries. And the good thing about it, they would have marks. We have seen all what they are doing. You know, when there's a competition, and you are the last to compete, you take from all where they failed, and you do what they didn't do. Or do it better, or do what they did better than the way they did. And that's the stage we are by the grace of the Almighty Allah. I vow that by the grace of the Almighty Allah, people will be mates in this country. And you know what I mean? I'm not the way people are going to Babylon to die, that's the way they will be crossing to this country, by the grace of the Almighty Allah. But instead of treating them with hostility, we will treat them with love, because we are Muslims. We are Christians. We believe that this world, Allah created this world, created the diversity in color, height, and look. But we are all the children of Adam and Eve and others. We should share where it is necessary. We should help each other where it is necessary. If we will not help you, we will not hurt you. That's our philosophy. But Gambians must be in the driver's seat. I wish you all the best.
On that positive note, Your Excellency, we wish to thank you.